I like the clock. Here we go.
Right, let's do it.
Awesome, awesome.
Oh my goodness, I know some of these people. This is so exciting.
I would, I would hope so.
How are you? Welcome.
Right.
Hi,
Hi
Dave.
I'm
there.
wearing I'm wearing the earrings that Dawn made. I'm Oh, she
Julie.
can't hear me. Can you hear me, Dawn? So I was saying I'm wearing the earrings you made for
Yes.
this for this presentation, which I'm so excited about.
Ooh.
I can't hear you, you're muted. Give it a few seconds to see if anybody else comes in. I know we got a lot of replay folks.
All the folks who need to be off camera, no worries. We're simply glad that you're here.
All right. What do you think, Judy? Should we get the show on the road and I'll let people in if
Yeah,
they
let's
come in?
get the show on the road. So, let's kick off.
All right, go
Yeah.
for it.
Welcome everybody to From Clicks to Conversions with myself and the great Nicole Porter. For those of you who may not know who I am, I'm Judy Harrington. I am a copywriter for The Overlooked and Misunderstood, and email marketing is my jam. And I just want to, Nicole and I are going to share some of our hot tips on how you can bring social and email marketing together. I mean, we typically don't think of these things as a pair. If you did a word association, you probably wouldn't think of those things together. But we're going to give you some hot tips on that today. So a little bit of background about me. Like I said, I'm a copywriter. I'm also a published author of the infamous book, Fuckery, The Life and Times of a Legend in Her Own Mind, which is just another form of storytelling. And I'm just really happy to see folks here and excited to share what we have to offer. So I'll turn it over to you, Nicole, for introductions.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming today. I'm so excited to see everybody. I'm Nicole Porter. I'm the owner of Monomoy Social Media. We focus primarily on full service social media execution, but we also do email marketing as well. I live on the Cape with my husband and my three sons that you can see there. I harass them to take selfies and whatnot with me. So if they look like they're not thrilled about that, that's why. Um, I have a few other fun facts about me. I have 7 lady ducks that live in my backyard, and they give us lots of eggs most of the time. That's a picture of them in the snow. I have 3 rescue dogs that take up a lot of our time. And in the summertime, we host college-age baseball players that live in our house every summer. So they come from Division I schools, and they come and play in the Cape League. And some of them have been drafted to Major League franchises. Nobody has gotten all the way up yet to go to the majors, but maybe if we keep doing it, we'll see when. So these are a couple of our guys, me and my family, and a couple of our guys from summer. So that is me in a nutshell in my crazy life. And back to you.
Back to me. Like as I said before, we don't typically think of email marketing, social media as common bedfellows, if you will. But what we really believe is that social media can actually bring you to email marketing. Like I said, when you play word association, you think of these two as a pair, but they really do work and complement each other really well. Um, and like I said, social media will bring you eventually to email marketing. So, Nicole.
Right. So they work hand in hand, social media and email marketing. Social media, it builds your awareness, your engagement, it builds conversation with your audience, and it is the only place that you can interact with them in real time. No other form of media offers that. That is something that is unique to social that a lot of people don't take advantage of. Email, it provides a more intimate and direct channel to nurture relationships and is a place that is going to drive more conversions than social will. Social keeps people informed, engaged, entertained, hopefully, and coming back. And it's generally thought of as interruption marketing, right? You're capturing people, you're grabbing them while they're scrolling and looking at other things, and you pop onto their social feed. But like Judy said, social should lead people to your email list, which is more direct. People are going to their inbox specifically with the purpose of reading their email, unlike social, where they're just going to scroll and look at other things. And one more thing I always like to point out when you're talking about social and email, like, yes, social's my jam, but you don't own it. You do not own your Facebook page. You don't own your LinkedIn page. Knock on wood, these things haven't gone away for any of my clients, but they can, with a bot doing the wrong thing, away the next time you log in. And your email list is something you own. Your website is something you own. So using your social strategically to lead people to your email list is really, really important because you own that and nobody can take that away from you unless you have tech issues and you lose it, but hopefully that won't happen.
Right, as in like the great Instagram or Facebook blackout from a few weeks ago. Um,
Right? And everybody panics.
Everybody was clutching their pearls and panicking, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? My social's down. I'm like, well, if you had a good email marketing list, you wouldn't be panicked at all. In fact, I didn't even really think about it and didn't know about it until the next day. That's how, invested I am in the whole idea of owning your list, or as I love to say, um, cultivating your audience of the converted. So like as Nicole said, social will to bring you to email, and the first thing you do on the email platform is you capture people through a great lead magnet, like a great freebie. We've all done this. We exchange our email to get a download that gives us some value of some sort, and from there you want to have a good welcome sequence. So it's not just like, oh, here's the freebie, have a nice day. You want to start to engage that audience a little bit, and just kind of engage in a very gentle conversation, very invitational. As I say, once you catch the fish, what do you do with it? So I have a couple of tips for that I want to share. The trick of this is you don't want to hold them captive for long. Like I have literally seen email sequences that go on for months, and that's pretty much a guarantee to get people to unsubscribe, because if you're just like constantly bombarding them related to that lead magnet, you're going to lose their attention. You want to give some additional value beyond that lead magnet, and that's when we get into email newsletters and those types of campaigns. So for me, when I talk about doing an email welcome sequence, we do, give that value related to the lead magnet. And one of the things that I like to say is that you're inviting people into your business living room, and if someone showed up to your house for a party, you wouldn't open the door and start like telling them your entire life story. You'd welcome them in, you'd show them where to put their coats or their shoes, you'd offer them a drink, you start engaging them in conversation. And that's really that very first set of emails about welcoming them, telling them you're happy that they're there, and then engage them a little bit and like asking a question. Say, hey, what prompted you to download this lead magnet? What was the curiosity point for you? Or if there was one thing that you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing in your business right now, what would it be? And inviting people to literally email you back. I've done this for a lot of businesses, and it usually just that simple question saying, if reply to this email, in mine, I used to say, I'm a unicorn, I reply to them all. Kind of injecting a little humor too, then showing them that you're there for them, that this is very much become like a one-to-one conversation. I also am a big fan of like the gentle nudge in that welcome email sequence where it's like, okay, the person I was when I downloaded that email magnet, that lead magnet, may not be the person I am by the time it hits my my email box. So we all have the great intention. What we say, the road to good intention is paved with candy bars and other distractions. So sometimes that little nudge, say, oh, hey, in case you haven't had a chance to open up this lead magnet, here it is again, and give it to them a second time. And then in that point is where you can start telling a little bit more about you because you've already asked them about them. And from there, you can kind of get into a little bit of your origin story, what led you to the work that you do, how you create transformation for people, like very gently, very not intrusively. You're not moving into the sale just yet. You're kind of just giving them a little bit more of a background about you. Again, it's like that conversation if you were at a cocktail party. It's like, tell me a little bit about you. Oh, here's a little bit about me. And then moving on into the next part of the email. So we go into, I like to say it's show them your best stuff. And for that, it is really around showcasing, for some people, it's showcasing some of their best blogs. For me, it's showcasing the portfolio of work that I do for clients. Or for my writing coaching side of the business, you know, talking about some of the wins that the writers who've worked with me have experienced. And kind of give them a little taste of that, pique their curiosity a little bit more. And then from there, then you want to move into part of the sequence where you're saying, okay, hey, I would really like to work with you now that we've got to know each other a little bit better. Here's some ways that we can continue this conversation and leading them to, for many people, that is a discovery call, clarity call, chemistry call, kind of moving from the electronic to more of an analog, well, really it's Zoom for most of us, but could be picking up, having a quick 15-minute clarity phone call with somebody or scheduling a one-to-one on Zoom to get to know people a little better and see if you can move them into a conversion conversation. You go ahead and make that offer. And then finally, the last end of the sequence, I like to wrap up with people saying, hey, I've had a little bit, have an opportunity to tell you a little bit about me. I've heard a little bit about you. Whether this is the time or another time, I'm here for you. This is kind of giving people like, this is the end of the sequence. Also give them the expectation that they'll continue to hear from you in terms of how often you're going to be writing to them via your newsletter. For some people, that's once a month. For some people, it's every other week. For me, I have a weekly newsletter that touches on different topics. We have a theme every month. Every business is different. Of course, it depends. But really, it's kind of like I like to think of it as I think about the podcast model. You have the intro and then you have your outro. And that final email is kind of just a wrap up of telling people how they can remain in touch with you if they haven't taken the opportunity to, book that call, move to that next step with you, and give them ways to remain in touch with you. Like, remember to follow me on social, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of like that's generally like the cadence that we're talking about. But really, in the end, that's really how you're going to start in nurturing and cultivating that conversation with people who now have converted to you in some small way.
Awesome. So it's, no, sorry, did you, were you?
Oh.
I was getting a question. So it's funny, somebody just asked, well, so do I still need social media if I have all this nurturing sequence going on? So starting with a few stats, social media use is only going up. It's growing and growing. There has been a 7.8 increase in just the last year, but almost a 70% jump worldwide of social media usage in the last 5 years. So if you're not using it, you're missing out on a huge audience of people that you could potentially be capturing. almost 60% of the global population uses social. We spend almost 2.5 hours on social per day, which is astounding because I feel like maybe, I mean, obviously it's my job, I spend time doing it, but for personal reasons, I'm like, do I really spend that much time on social media every day? Probably do. And customer service is going to social. So 64% of people said that they would rather message a company instead of call a company, especially as our younger generation start to get more and more into these roles where they're making decisions and they're reaching out for things. They are going to want to message, not call. Picking up the phone is not natural for a younger generation. So if you are able to offer customer service through social as well, that is going to be a huge bonus. Capturing leads is a big one for social, right? As Judy was saying, we lead people to our email list from social. So social platforms offer a lot of ways to capture your leads. You can do targeted ads, you can get engaging with your content, and there's a lot of interactive features now with polls and quizzes. And the more a person engages with your content, the more they will see your content. That's just how the algorithm works. When somebody comments or somebody likes or somebody clicks on something, the algorithm is going to say, oh, that person likes that. So they're going to show them more of it. So give these people an opportunity to engage, ask questions, and use the features the platform gives you. The platforms now, I mean, you go on LinkedIn, there's all kinds of stuff for polls and questions, yes or no's, stories on Facebook and Instagram. There's so many interactive features where people don't have to even comment anymore. They can just click a button and they've interacted with your content. So make it as easy as you can for people because the less they have to do, the more likely they are to do it. Um, and the more they see your content after taking these actions, the more likely they are going to be to stay in touch. They're more likely to sign up for your email the more they see your content. So it goes in a line. First they see it, then they engage, then they see more of it, then they sign up for your email list, and hopefully eventually buy from you. So another great way to use social and email together is to repurpose your content, right? We don't need to reinvent the wheel. And I think a lot of people don't take advantage of this. You don't need to have separate content completely from your blog, your website, and your email and your social, right? Like this can all work together. You can take a long form email and break it up into little posts. Same thing with the blog. You can take your blog post, put it in your email, break it up, and put it onto social, right? So most people aren't going to see all of those things, right? They're not going to see your blog and your email and your social. And if they do, it is a great reminder that you're there and that they can work with you. Because I think I just actually heard, I thought it was 7 times, but now I guess it's up to 10 or 12. They have to see you 10 or 12 times to take action on something. So if you're reminding them again and again and you're repeating that content, it's a really great way to stay top of mind. Like to us, it seems repetitive because we are the ones putting it out and we're in our business and we are always, writing the same stuff. And you're like, oh my God, I'm talking about this again. But the people that are seeing it on the other end, they're not, all of them are not seeing it over and over, right? They're seeing it occasionally. So repurposing is great. And it makes a lot less work for us, which is always another bonus.
I know I talk about that a lot too, Nicole. I'm like, here I go again. But it feels like because we're so in the business, and I'm sure this is very relatable to everyone in this room who's creating content or collaborating to create content in their business. They're like, oh my God, I'm so sick of talking about this. Well, there's loads of people out there who don't even know about you yet, or may not have captured this, but really haven't experience this particular talking point that you're elaborating on. So there's also like within the repurposing of content too, there's also the opportunity to repurpose things that maybe you did a year ago or 18 months ago and bring those back into your sequence, either, and again, like through social and through email marketing. and also to kind of build on and piggyback on what you were talking about, is like you can have a long form email that gets broken up into chunks and repurpose that into social. I've seen a lot of people who like have an organic social post they put out there, something's very time sensitive and they feel the need to talk about it right away, but then they then repurpose that in the reverse. They bring that back into their email experience, because not every single person is experiencing you in every single medium. There, some find you on social, then move into the website and email experience with you. Some people have met you in person and you've asked them to, if you can have them join your list, and they may not be necessarily social media people, but it's really important to make sure that you're getting the same message across on as many platforms as possible.
Yeah, I love that message, Judy. And like to repeat what you said, like you don't have the same followers you had 18 months ago or a year ago. There's new people there. So if you put something out a year ago, or if you only put something out on email, you were definitely missing a huge population of people that could potentially see your message. So it can be helpful to talk to people from outside of your organization and ask them, like, have you seen this? Did you see this that I put out? And get another perspective, because even if I look at Judy's stuff, I don't see all the things that she does all the time, even though we talk often. So it's just when we get into our own head and we get into our own business, it seems repetitive to us, but it's really not to anybody else that's on the outside of our organization, even when you speak often. And one of the things Judy was actually just talking about was the cross promotion of your social and your email, right? So you're able to promote your social through your email and your email through your social. If like she was saying, if you meet somebody at a networking event, they follow you on social, you can invite them to your email through that if you post that every so often, or vice versa. They're not a social person. So you're like, oh, sign up for my email list. You have a QR code on your business card. They sign up for your email list. You have those icons on the bottom that's like, oh, they're like, oh, I use LinkedIn. I'll follow them on LinkedIn. So you got another way to stay in touch with that person by cross promoting those two things. For example, I have a customer on the vineyard that has a few fudge shops, and they want to do a big promotion around their shipping, right? Because they're a tourist destination and they want to capture these people that don't come there all the time, but maybe they want a little bit of that nostalgia from their vacation, right? They want to order it at Christmas or whatever. So on social, we promote that if you subscribe to their email, you get a 15% discount on shipping, but you only get that through email. So that's one way to get people on your email list from using social. Now, when we send out their email, those people that aren't on social are going to get a nudge to follow along for behind the scenes content. We're not showing videos of people making fudge and like little kids at the store and everything through email, but you're going to see that content on social. So we're going to promote the social follow through the email. So those things work together and you're able to stay in touch with them through both channels.
Mhm.
And lead magnets. So this is one we've both been talking a lot about.
Yeah.
Social media is a wonderful place to entice people to come and sign up for your email list. Now, most people are not going to sign up for your email list because you say, hey, I have a newsletter, sign up for it. Doesn't work for most people. You need to give them some incentive. You have to give them a reason, a little kickback, so to speak, to sign up for this email list. So this can be promoting exclusive offers like the 15% discount that I was just talking about. You can enroll them in a contest, right? You're going to give something away if you sign up for the email, only to an email subscriber. Nobody else gets it besides the email subscriber. You can give them gated content, which is what a lot of people in the B2B world do. So for instance, Judy has something she's going to give you later on, but a six ways to do good storytelling. I don't know, I'm getting it wrong. I
That's
what is
okay.
it?
6 hot tips.
Six
For
hot tips.
yes.
And I give away 10 posts you can use over and over again, right? So you can't get either of those pieces of content unless you sign up for our email list. You have to be on the email list to get that content. So these are all different examples of ways that we can entice people through social to get onto our email list. This webinar is a lead magnet, right? We are giving you content, we're giving you value, we're teaching you in exchange for an email address so that we can now stay in touch. So there are tons of ways to use lead magnets to get people on your email list, but you need to figure out what's going to work with your audience. So I started as a chocolatier way back in the day. I had a little chocolate and ice cream store. I had t-shirts made up and I thought they were pretty cool. And I said, you know, if you put your email address in this jar, you can win a chance for a free t-shirt. I got 1,000 emails doing that. People putting their email in the jar. I also, before that, I tried, if you give me your email address, I'll email you a coupon for a free ice cream cone. You know who did that? No one. I don't know why. The chance at a t-shirt worked way better than me emailing them a coupon for a free ice cream cone, which is counterintuitive. So I say all this to say that the first thing you try might not work. Try again. Find something they like, right? I've got a few different ones that I use, but the 10 posts that work over and over again is my number one lead magnet. That's what people sign up for the most. So try a few different things if things don't work right away. Um, Now Judy got a little excited and I think and went ahead. So do you still want to go over this? You want to jump right to the Q&A?
Well, I think there are a couple of touch points here that I didn't
Okay.
in my unfettered enthusiasm for email marketing. I kind of gave away the store earlier, but there are a couple of tips here that I think are important.
Okay.
Here. That overall, your email welcome series should really be completed in a maximum of 10 days. I'm actually writing an email sequence for an organization right now, and they're given their demographic, they feel really strongly that they want to have as few, they're cutting it down to 4 emails, and they really they want it out within like 3 or 4 days. They really just this is what works for them, and that is, that's totally fine, but really a maximum of 10 days. You want to give people a little bit of a taste, but not bombard them. And also kind of keep them in suspense a little bit. Like, I'm a big fan of the cliffhanger, and sometimes in my emails, I'll say, and next time we'll be talking about this. So you know what to expect the next time you see something when I pop into your email again. You want to give them enough time to digest is really the important point here. Again, introduce yourself, let them know who you are, what you do, how you do it, why you're different. And then also always encourage engagement. That the PS line is kind of the secret sauce in a lot of emails. It's like, hey, PS, what and ask them a question. Again, back to that whole conversational cocktail party model.
On social too. Like the more you can engage people, the better. Social, email, like that question in the simple make the answer. Do you like this? Answer with a yes or no. Seriously, like it's the less barriers I think people have, the more likely they are to take action and just hit reply and say yes or no. Like it's and then you can, get in on that conversation. Sorry,
Yeah.
jump the gun.
Right, and again, like the gentle nudge, there's a difference between being a nudge and a nag. I walk that line very finely, both in my personal life and in business. But that gentle nudge email is really kind of one of my tricks of the trade, is that what we want to do in one moment, we get so distracted in the next one, we forget to download the thing, we forget to read it, it ends up in our downloads folder, we forget all about it. So it's kind of good to bring back that gentle nudge. Yeah. And yeah, and the showcase of your best work, show them time to show off in that way, and also tell them your why. Tell them what is about what you do, what has inspired you to do what you do. And for me, I see a lot of business owners who have a tough time connecting with their ideal client. And it's because, as I like to say, they live inside the bottle and they can't read their own label. So that's why mirrors were invented, and copywriters like me continue to thrive.
That is awesome. I love it. So that is all the content we have for you guys today. We are going to go into a quick Q&A, but I wanted to let you know that if you can't stick around for that, we are sending out a replay of this. Judy and I do have some goodies that are going to be coming your way. So we are going to be sending the 6 hot tips and the 10 posts to you guys for signing up for this and a few other things. So keep an eye on your email and don't forget to stay in touch with us through social because while it may not be the right time to work with us right now, we would love to stay in touch for when the time is right. So I am going to stop the share so I can see your faces. That's better. And I know we already got a few questions in the chat. So the first one was from Don Do. I answered the social question already, but can we automate the welcome and nurturing emails, Judy?
Yes, absolutely. My preferred playground for that is ConvertKit. I know there's a lot of different platforms out there. MailChimp is another popular one. But I'm a ConvertKit girl. For a long time, I had my email embedded within my website, and I just needed more functionality, the ability to survey readers and things like that, and be able to segment more easily happens within ConvertKit. It's a platform completely devoted to email marketing and the art and science of it. So I'm a huge proponent of ConvertKit in particular. And that's something, Dawn, if you'd like to explore that, when I send out the freebie at the end of this, I'd be happy to entertain a call with you about how you can do that. I don't necessarily do, but I have the resources available to help you to put that in action.
Yeah, I love ConvertKit. I use it as well. It's one of my favorites. It's specifically for creators as well, which I think is really helpful. And I would also just add, not only can you automate it, you should automate it to make things much, much easier for you.
Totally, because you want to have a lot of people on your list, and how are you going to keep track of like, who did I send this, which one did I send to? So this way it just kind of gets them into a queue and the things drip out accordingly, and you're not worrying about, did I send this to somebody? Have they seen this thing 4 times? Like, so that's a great question.
Is it okay to take one post and copy and paste it across multiple platforms, or do we have to tweak it for each platform? Um, I would tweak it. So a lot of times what I do with social is I use a scheduler. And so I'll hook everything up. So if I have LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, I will write one main post. And then there's generally a place where you can go in and just tweak that for each particular platform that you're going to go on. So for instance, you don't like for Facebook and Instagram, a lot of times I want things going out in the evening because that's when people are spending time there. But if it's LinkedIn, I want that going out in the morning. If it's Twitter, you have to cut down on your character count, which is really hard for me. This is where ChatGPT comes in. I'm like, please rewrite this in 280 characters, including spaces, because I am obviously very talky. That's why Judy and I can do this and just keep going. So I think tweaking, like having the same base post and tweaking for each platform is really important. Like you can't have links on Instagram, so you have to say link in bio, things like that. Just little tweaks. Does that answer your question? How do you include a link to email signups on social? I have Shopify and it only has a pop-up available, not a specific link. I have an answer, but do you want to answer it, Judy?
I can't speak to the Shopify aspect of how that works. It's not a platform that my clients typically are on. I don't deal with a lot of retail businesses. Um, For me, I have a resources page where all of my lead magnets live. And then there's an opt-in there, and I literally just copy and paste that link, give it to my VA to put into the social post, um, either in the body of the caption or in the first comment, because I'm never really sure what the rules are with that. So I kind of defer to my team to navigate that piece of it. Hope that answers your question. I think Nicole will probably have a better answer than me. I can tell you what I do.
Yes. So, what I generally would do if you don't have a way to embed a link. So you would get a link from your email provider. So if you're using MailChimp, ConvertKit, Constant Contact, whatever it is, you create a form for people to sign up through that, and then you get a link. And I'm not super great with Shopify either, but you should be able to either put that link on there on your Shopify website or embed a code in there. But if you can't do that, you can just use that same link right on social. So people will go right from social, they'll skip your website and they'll get on your email list, and then you can get them to your website when you send out an email. So it all happens through the email provider. That's where the link comes from. And your website is just a place for that to sit. And it is nice to get that traffic to your website. But if you can't, then just use the direct link right from that email provider. Does that answer your question? Okay. Um, email marketing platforms. I use MailChimp for a lot of my clients. I think I use like 5 different email providers. A lot of my clients come to me with one already. I do like MailChimp's free. Let's put it that way. So if you're starting, MailChimp's free. ConvertKit is usually if you're a little bit further along. I do like ConvertKit. But I think it's all in like what you'll use and what is most intuitive to you. So if you find it hard to use, you probably won't use it. Um,
What about
and if it's
Sender?
a,
Have you
what's
used
that?
Sender? Have you used Sender?
I have not. Have you?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Marjorie. I'm just not familiar. I mean, when working with me, I am really clear with the clients that I'm the word girl. Like they literally get a Google Doc from me. Here's the text, and they have to
Yeah, fair
they
enough.
hand the
Yeah.
baton over from that end of it. So I am not any expert on navigating the systems themselves. I try to stick in my lane with the copy itself.
Okay,
Do
just
you have a question around Sender, or is there like
yeah,
something?
I want to know if anybody's using Sender, that's all.
Okay, I am not familiar with it.
I'm not either. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good platform. They're all very similar. So it's all in like what I would do
What I'm
is make a
looking
list of
for, what I'm looking for is one that has a good template. I mean, Constant Contact has just a few, right? MailChimp
yeah.
too. So Sender seems to have better graphic templates. I'm just asking the question. And also, do you use Buffer? What do you use to schedule your posts?
Yeah, Nicole.
I've used it. Yeah, I like Buffer. I think it's very user friendly. It's economical, and they've come out with a lot of new features.
Yeah.
If I was doing it just for myself and not like 40 people, then I would probably use it, but I had to go to a different one just for that reason. But we started on Buffer
Yeah.
when I first started my agency. So I think it's super user friendly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, ladies.
go back with you about the template portion. I might have a solution for you but I think the most important thing, and Nicole said, is that whatever platform you're using, as long as you find it friendly to use, you will continue to use it. So that's like, there's like,
Of course, absolutely. I was just looking for one that had good graphic capability, and it seemed the Sender had something that was a little bit more flexible. I don't.
there was a deeper question there. I just wanted to probe a little bit. So thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it. Yes.
You're welcome. Is it better to have a separate email provider from your e-commerce email marketing? So are you saying that within Shopify, they have their own email provider? I don't know Shopify that well. Yes. So if you're already paying for that and you're already using it, I would use what they have in Shopify. Um, I know a lot of people do that with Wix. Wix isn't wonderful, but they but they do have that capability, right? So if you're smaller and you don't necessarily have to go for an outside email provider if that's already within the system you're using. I think it's better to use what you have available.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
I talk a little bit, but I originally had my email on it was embedded within my website on Squarespace. I don't know if that's like a similar situation with the Shopify. But then when I moved from using the Squarespace as my email platform to ConvertKit, it ended up being like I was just really moving my cost center from one to the other. But it was really more the capabilities that I had in ConvertKit. So that might be where you need to weigh the option.
Yeah, it's never like a black and white answer. It's, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, what features are important to you? Like, what are you going to use? Like, it's a lot that goes into that decision. But we're here if you have any further questions on that. Any other questions before we wrap up?
I
Anything
have
else
one.
we can?
Can I ask one?
Yes. No.
No, I
just-
can't.
You're the only one that can't. No, go ahead. What's the question?
My my question is, I've heard often that only like 4% of what you put on social is actually going to be seen by your followers, right? Have you heard that?
I've heard that.
My goodness. So how do you stop the scroll? How do you get, well, how do you get seen, I guess, is actually the question, not the scroll necessarily. Yeah.
So the biggest tip that I can give people for getting seen on social is to be social. And what I mean by that is go out and comment on other people's posts as your business or whatever page you are using. So if you are on Facebook, go and comment on people that have a similar audience to you. Right? Like, so Judy and I have similar audiences. So if we comment on each other's posts, people are going to start to notice, right? Neither one of us does what the other one does. I cannot write. That's why I have people like her. But if we start to comment on each other's posts, we're going to start to see, people are going to start to notice our respective audiences. If you're on LinkedIn and you're using your personal profile versus a page, which most people do because that's where their following is, comment as your personal profile on people that have a similar audience to you. And that's going to increase your visibility a lot because people they don't treat social the way they should. They treat it like traditional media where they will put out content and then just set it and forget it. And by doing that, you're really not taking advantage of one of the biggest benefits that social media has to offer, and that's conversation and interaction. And so doing that outbound engagement is really, really important. You can also, like I was talking about a little bit in the beginning, try to get more people to engage with your posts by providing more interactive options and like, I mean, you don't want to be like, if it's not within your personality to be like a little off the wall and crazy. Like for me, posting a picture of a duck is pretty normal, but like for you, David, that probably would be a little weird. But but it does stop the scroll. And it provides a reason for people to interact. So when you can do those two things together, right? Like maybe it's offering value, maybe, you're doing a quick informative video, right? But you have to capture them right off the bat. If you're trying to stop the scroll. But the interaction piece is really, really the key piece to getting more visibility on social media. And I tell people just like set a timer and make it strategic so people you don't just like go down this rabbit hole of just scrolling and commenting. Like there's certain people that I know I want to comment on like at least once a week. So if I put like 2 segments of 15 minutes in my schedule each week and set a timer, it works a lot better than me just being like, okay, I'm gonna go comment on people today and then just kind of like scrolling aimlessly. So be social is
Thank you.
like the
Appreciate
thing.
that. Thanks.
Welcome. All right. That was a long-winded answer. If I was using Fathom, they would tell me that I was, what do they say, dude? Here's like, get off your soapbox.
That was
What is
perfect.
it? And monologue, you're monologuing. Stop doing that. Are
Any
there
other
any other,
folks?
go ahead. Judy?
I didn't have any other questions. I didn't have anything else to
I do have
Keep
another
going.
one. If
All
somebody
right.
else doesn't. Yeah.
Go for it.
Um, how often can you put a new, or should you put a new lead magnet out there? Like, how
that's a good
often is too
question.
much? Like, should it
Much.
be every week, once a month, every quarter? You know, because there's probably a fine line somewhere.
There's definitely a fine line. I will say that I had one standard lead magnet for a very long time. It was the 5 tips for unboring copy. And then I created the 6 hot tips for email storytelling probably last fall. And it was inspired because I was asked to speak um, on email marketing. And the questions that came out of that speaking engagement prompted me to say, oh, wait, there's probably more. If one person's, you know this, David, for every one person who asks the question, there's probably 10 others who aren't willing to ask it.
Sure.
So I had a lot of engagement at that speaking engagement around email marketing. I said, oh, you know what? This is giving me some good data that there's probably more of a need out there for this. So I niched down even a little harder on the email marketing portion of my business and in my marketing message for a while. So I think the shorter answer is really being in tune with what people are asking you and finding a way to turn those questions into a lead magnet that would speak to a larger group.
So let's say, thank you for that. So let's say you put a lead magnet out there and you deem it as successful, right? You get engagement on it and all the great stuff that came out of that. How often do you throw that lead magnet back out there for fresh, fresh eyes or whatever?
About once a quarter. So
Once a quarter. Okay, cool.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so yeah, so
Thank you.
I have one quarterly post or 1 week where I just talk about all my lead magnets and say, hey, did
Yep.
you know this? You know, I have 3 out there right now. The 5 tips for unboring copy, the email marketing, and then I have 7 stellar writing resources, which leads people down the path for working with me in writing coaching. So like I have them set up as different pillars of my business.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
Yeah, I do something very similar to what Judy does. Like I look at what people are asking about, like so I created an AI lead magnet. And I put that out, I probably put mine out monthly, but I also that 10 posts lead magnet is still my best performing one. So I don't take that down. And I'll put that out on social every so often, but I also had it other places. So it's a pop-up on my website when you first come and you can sign up to get that lead magnet. And I have it I use Pinterest a lot for that as well. And Pinterest is like a whole different animal. It's really not social. It's really is a search engine. So yeah, so I use that lead magnet like every other day. Like, because on Pinterest you can post like 25 times a day. I use Tailwind and it just like automatically goes out. It's very easy to kind of repeat things, but it goes out a lot. And I just kind of like on that platform, I repeat them, the different lead magnets constantly. So I guess it also depends on, social might be once a quarter, but Pinterest is like all the time. And so it depends on where you're putting it as well, I think, as to how often you can put it out there.
Okay. Thanks.
Anytime. Any other questions that we can answer for you guys? Nothing? All right. Well, thank you guys for spending an hour with us. We appreciate it. And we will be following up. You'll get the replay. So there'll be a few emails coming your way with the different resources. And Judy and I are here. If you have any questions, please email either one of us. We're happy to answer them. And don't forget to connect on social if we have not done that already.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
And
David here in hang on. But David's in the waiting room.
Oh, we're still recording.
Oh. I'm glad you noticed that because I tend to just like talk and talk and
I was
talk.
like,
Stop.
before we start going